But we're talking about the Pistons right now. And, what it's going to take for this Piston team to get back to being competitive in the playoffs. And I don't even want the play-in game. I'm talking being competitive in the playoffs, like being a number 5 or 6 seed.
Oh, my God, Gator.
I know it's going to take a lot, right?
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
To get to that level, you need superstar players. And right now, the Pistons only have one potential superstar player. And it's potential in Cade Cunningham. And I think that they have to build around him because I just don't see the value coming back in trade because whoever trades for him is trying to add to their team and being already a good team, and you'd end up with like crappy first-round picks as opposed to good first-round picks. But we got a lot of people chiming in on Ticket Text. What evidence is there that you don't build around Cade? He matches up great with third-year Booker, Tatum, and SGA. And he's only played 2. He's just trusting his left hand. Again, he showed more explosion. Cade's a superstar in 24 months, tops. Here's the evidence that you don't build around him. Injuries.
Yeah, he hasn't been healthy. That's number one.
I mean, that's a big one.
It's a huge one. That's the biggest evidence against building around Cade. Number 2 is when he does play, they don't win. So although I'm in Cade's corner, by the way,
too.
And I think you do personally have to build around him, and they're going to have to give him that extension. But yeah, the arguments against him are clear. He's injury prone at least his first 2-3 years, right? And they never win. And that might not be all his fault. And in fact, I don't think it is. I think the Pistons have failed Cade Cunningham more than Cade Cunningham has failed the Pistons, but those are the facts.
To be honest, Cade's not the best player on the team. I'm not a fan because of his position, which is also why he's not looked at, but it's Duren. I would disagree with that. I like Jalen Duren. I think Jalen Duren has a ton of potential. But Cade's clearly the best player on the team.
I love Jalen Duren. I think he could be a very good supporting player, if not borderline all-star, on a good team. Offensively, he's limited, though. Let's just be honest. He's a dunk guy. He's a lob guy right now. He's got to develop a low post move. Outside shooting is non-existent from Jalen Duren right now. Right. If I'm being honest, I'd love to be able to get like a Bam Adebayo ceiling out of him. That would be like tremendous if that were to happen. But yeah, you're going to need 2-3 other guys next to Cade and then Jalen Duren.
I'd love to see him become more of a defensive presence.
He's got the athletic ability to do it.
Yeah, exactly. Be the rim protector. Hey, you're going to come up, not up in here, and swat it away or force somebody to just pass the ball away because it's just not worth it. Cade is overrated. He is the MVP of the IL. Well, that's a problem. He's been hurt an awful lot. Pistons are 5 to 10 years away from being good. That's from Kai in Clinton Township. I can't disagree with that, but we're trying to find ways where they get better. What has to change, and it's not just drafting. They're going to have to come up with they've got some real interesting decisions to make with free agency. And then that also comes with the free agency want to play here. In the NFL, because there's so much parity in the NFL, it feels like even if you're one of the worst teams in the league, if you've got the money to spend on free agents will come there. In the NBA, there isn't anywhere near the parity. There might be parity at the top, but there's not parity throughout the league. Teams can't turn around in 3 years, all of a sudden be a contender like they can in the NFL. And the players seem to want to go and play with other players, and they'll get money no matter where they go. Derek and Westland, the Pistons have to fix the bench. For those who watched last season, it was evident that the starters were good enough to compete with teams, but when the bench came in, they would lose their leads and go down 10 to 15 points before the starters would be subbed back in. There's some truth to that. But they also, maybe more than anything else, they need high-end talent. And getting high-end talent isn't easy. Now, they've got one piece in Cade Cunningham, but he has to stay healthy. If you're going to tell me he stays healthy, then 100% you build around him. But you can't do that. So how do you do it? There are some free agents out there. Klay Thompson's an interesting name to me.
He is. I mean, he's obviously on the later end of his career, but he's a bona fide shooter in this league. Not sure if he is anymore. That's the issue, right? And that's why I would go for someone younger. Malik Monk is my guy. Go after him as your shooter from the outside. Give him a guy that Cade can kick the ball out to with confidence. If if you want that fast-paced plan, Gator, which I don't think they have, but basically Cade Cunningham's got to turn to Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. He's got to take that next leap to an all-star. He's got to take, the SGA took it after he was traded from the Clippers to OKC, and then look what happened with that team. They started filling in the other spots, right? We talked about Jalen Williams yesterday. His brother, Cody Williams, is in the draft. If the Pistons draft Cody Williams, can he be a piece to go alongside Cade, along with a veteran like Malik Monk? And then you still got to keep continuing building. That's where Agent Langdon has to come in and identify these guys to help build around Cade Cunningham.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how he's going to build this team. And everybody says that this draft is nothing special. They have like a couple of good players, but they're not great players. Or do the Pistons consider trading up? I saw that there was a story in the Free Press today about trading back, 3 different trade scenarios they had, which I thought were interesting. But what about trading up? Is that a possibility, or is this not the year that you trade up? They had the 5th overall pick. You don't know how it's gonna shape out, because it feels like the top pick has been flip-flopped a few times already, who it's going to be, and maybe it's just this is not the year that you do that. Assuming this is going to be another difficult year for the Pistons, they'll be right back in this position again next year. But if all they're getting is mediocrity, it's tough. Is it possible to build a winner, and I shouldn't say a championship team, but a team that is going to be a playoff team, solidly in the playoffs? Can you do it just with defense? Is that something that can happen anymore in the NBA, or is that far-fetched?
I don't think so, but you could be led by your defense. I mean, but you got to have offensive firepower. Like the Timberwolves were a really good defensive team this year, but clearly they had Cat, they had Anthony Edwards, but Rudy Gobert helped anchor the defense. Jaden McDaniels, those guys are defensive players. The Pistons have those type of players on defense that I think they need to be coached better on how to play defense. But offensively, you still need that firepower. You still need outside shooting. The Pistons just lack that. You just can't just rely on defense. This isn't the going to work Pistons league anymore.
No, it's not. But this is